Okay. Now, if you got stuck on this fun little problem, don't worry, you are not alone. So let's break it down. We're going to talk about the idea behind it first, and we're going to do the math. So what we have is we have a giant quarter circle here whose radius is 4. Awesome. And then inside, you have a smaller half circle and an identical smaller half circle whose radius is 2. Okay? Now, the big problem comes when we have to deal with this shaded area here. And if you've stared at this problem and tried a bunch of stuff, this is probably where you got messed up. So, let's see here. If you just want the area of what's now all the green, what you need to do is find the area outside this and inside that and add them together. Well, that's easier said than done. So, let's take this in pieces here. If we're still not doing the math yet, okay? So, we need to know essentially the area of this shape and the area of that shape. So, what we need to do is take that up and down half circle, add it to the sideways half circle, but then we need to take out one of these, because otherwise we'll have a double overlap. Okay? After we do that, then what that would give us is what we want, which is the area of this really weird shape. Okay? Once you know the area of that really weird shape, you can subtract it from that quarter circle. You get that piece, and then add that leafy green piece. Okay, now, if I went through this and you're lost, rewind it, but I'm going to try to explain it again, okay? And then we'll just do the math, and then it'll make sense. So, let's look at this one more time. Such a cool problem. Any problem that causes like you to go like, wait a second, is a perfect problem to do. So here's what we have. What we have is we have this quarter circle, which we all know how to find the area of. Okay? Now, if we switch colors, find this piece, and subtract it, what we have left is this really weird wing piece, which is half the area that we want. Okay? Now, what gets in the way of finding this awesome red piece is that if we take what we know, which is, let's use pink, this half circle and this half circle, we got an overlap that we have to deal with. So, let's look. So if I take this half circle and add it to that half circle, okay, what we get is we would get what we want, which is this big red piece, but there would also be, let's use blue, that weirdo extra piece right there. So it would really be that plus that weirdo extra piece. So we got to find that weirdo extra piece. So let's get rid of all these and let's do some math. Doop-a-doo. Let's find that weirdo extra piece first. let's find this piece right here. Okay? So, let's take a look. Take a look in a book. So now, what we know is we know that the distance from here to here is 2. You cool with that? Because the radius of this half circle is 2. And so, if you were to put just a nice little box around this, we would get a 2 by 2. And you're like, well, what does that do for me? Well, if you know that you have a quarter of a circle inside a 2 by 2 box, I bet you can find the area of it. But Mr. Schneider, we don't have a quarter of a circle. You know what? You're right. You don't. But this piece right here is the exact same as this piece right there. So what you do is you say, okay, this blue circle, this square that I drew, the area, let's go back for a second. This blue square that's 2 by 2, the area is 4. And if I take out the quarter circle that's inside, what I have left is that little piece. But we don't have 1, we have 2 of those little pieces. So I got to double it. And what that will do is that will give me the area of each of those. So then I would just subtract from my 4, and I would get that area that's really been bugging me, which is this. So let's do it. So we know that we have a quarter circle of radius 2. So that would be pi r squared over 4, because it's a quarter circle. We know that the radius is 2. So that's pi times 2 squared over 4, or 4 pi over 4. Or really, the 4's will cancel out and you just get pi. So what that means is you have a beautiful blue square. If you take this quarter circle with area pi, all you have to do is say, listen, this piece is just 4 minus pi. And that is the purple piece. So now let's just use a calculator to do all this in decimals, because otherwise we're just going to get a lot of expressions and that's going to throw us off. So we know pi is 3.14. So just doing 4 minus 3.14, that gives you 0.86. And that's the area of that one little weird triangle piece. But we have 2 of them, as we said earlier. So let's double it. .86 times 2. And what you get is you get that piece. And you get that piece for a total area of 1.72. So if we take the big blue square and take out those 2 purple pieces, what you get is that odd cat's eye piece that we've been searching for. Okay, so let's put in the numbers. So this is 4 minus 1.72. And what you get, the area of that cat's eye piece, is 2.28. Now, how does that really help us? Well, it really helps us because we now know that this is 2.28. And what we need next is to find the area of this whole piece. Okay? So, let's take a look. Oh. What we have is if I were to find, so this is just really, oh yeah, it's another way to do it. See, this is what's cool about math. You can do things in a lot of different ways. What if, bam, we just found the area of this? If we found the area of that, that can help us. We can double it to get this. And then we can add them together and subtract it from the area of this giant quarter circle. Okay? So this is a slight detour, but it's still the same math. So let's take a look. We can do, each of these green circles is a beautiful half circle with this little piece taken out. So each one is a beautiful half circle with that cat's eye piece, I'm just going to call it that from now on, taken out. Now I know the cat's eye piece is 2.28. What I need to know is what this green half circle is. Well, I know the diameter is 4, so that means the radius is going to be 2. So that means we have the area, which is pi r squared, or 4 pi, by putting that 2 in for r. But now, that's for the whole circle. I got to divide that circle by 2. So then what I get is the area of that half circle is 2 pi minus 2.28 gives me that piece that I need. So that would be 2 times 3.14 minus 2.28. And then what you get left with is a 4. Isn't math cool how that works out? So, what that means is that this area right here is 4. And that means that that area right there is 4. This is getting a little crowded. Let's clear it up. So, this area right here is 4. This area right here is 4. Okay? So then, now that I know those pieces, all I got to do is say, okay, take the area of the whole thing, of the whole quarter circle, and subtract it by 4 twice. So the area of that quarter circle with radius 4 is pi r squared over 4, or pi times 4 squared, which is 16 over 4, which can reduce into 4 pi. So what we have is this whole pink is 4 pi. We need to take away one 4 and another 4. So the math that we're going to do is 4 pi minus 8. 1 for each 4. So now if we do the math on that, we would get 4 times 3.14 minus 8. And the area that we get is, drumroll please, 4.56. That's the answer. So let's just take this back one more time. Okay? So pause this, because I'm going to erase this, but you can always go back if you need. What we did was we said, okay, let's find this. And we found that cat's eye piece by drawing a box, okay, and assume it, and just pretending that this is a whole quarter circle inside, and subtracting it from the blue box to get that white sliver. Once we got that white sliver, we doubled it, so then we had 2 white slivers. We subtracted it from the area in our blue box, and then what we had left is that cat's eye piece. What we then did is took the area of the half circle, subtracted the cat's eye, took the area of this half circle, subtracted the cat's eye, and what we had left was the area of this piece and this piece, which added up to 8. So once we had the area of those 2 purple pieces, then all we had left to do was subtract both of those from the area of that big quarter circle. And that's the math we did. So, oh my gosh, you guys, we did all this exciting math just for a little picture with just some circles in it. Good work.